Caught it since so many after the Cowboys' 7-10 season of last year, few ever giving credence to why this took place, plus the displeasure of failing to advance to at least an NFC championship game since 1995, have assumed the Cowboys have lost their luster. That fans are jumping ship, losing interest in their team. That the Cowboys' worldwide public image is declining after just their second losing season since 2015 but the third since 2010. And get it, and so do the Cowboys. Nothing really matters unless winning a Super Bowl. Well, saw this piece in the most recent issue of Sports Illustrated, July 2025. And, yes, SI still is being printed, though the typeface is decreasing. My guess is to print the same content on fewer pages. When the NFL's scheduling team took its first look at the 2025 matchups, one thing stuck out. With the flagship NFC East playing a deep NFC North, and the NFC North paired with a similarly loaded AFC North, there was going to be a lot of inventory to work with, is the description. In short, this was a deep dive into how the NFL crew in charge of mapping out the 2025 NFL schedule, utilizing 4,000 servers from Amazon Web Services and running hundreds of thousands of versions of the 272-game schedule, went about their lengthy business. Those were writer Albert Breer's words, not mine. He goes on that more than 7,000 combinations of the schedule got eyeballs on them, and a total of 151 got the full deep dive treatment. Then we got to this from SI. What came of the process was a schedule featuring big games in big spots, beginning with the Eagles-Cowboys kickoff game set for Thursday, September 4th in prime time. But many of us, you, too, probably, wonder why the heck are the Cowboys, a 7-10 team from last season, opening up against the Super Bowl champion Eagles? What about the possibility of a Super Bowl rematch of Eagles-Chiefs? Or an NFC title rematch of Eagles-Commanders? Or two of the 4 conference championship contenders, Eagles-Bills? All so sweet, right? And as we looked through the schedule, we wanted to push ourselves. Let's go big in big windows. Ani Bose, NFL Vice President of Broadcasting, is quoted as saying, "Any number of games would work in that window. But Dallas felt good. It felt right. It will be a charged environment. They're raising the banner. A rival is coming." Yep, in their eyes, the Cowboys are still the Cowboys. The Chiefs and the Cowboys are the only 2 teams to have 7 nationally televised games in 2025, including the Thanksgiving Day matchup between the 2 former Dallas rivals. The newly minted NFL's Cowboys versus the newly minted AFL's Texans, who eventually became known as the Chiefs, once moving to Kansas City 3 years later, both shared the Cotton Bowl for the first 3 years of their existence in warring leagues, beginning in 1960. The Chiefs and Cowboys are the only 2 teams with 8 standalone games, meaning playing in the only coveted 3:25 p.m. nationally televised time slot. Bose later is quoted as saying, "Look, the Cowboys are always a draw. The fan base is there, the interest is there. Yes, they were 7-10 last year, but they had 12-5 seasons the 3 previous years, and Dak Prescott was hurt. They're in one of the most competitive divisions. They have a track record. You have CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. This wasn't going to be the year the Cowboys were only going to get 2 primetime games. No, siree, the schedule makers still recognizing the Cowboys' national allure with or Agan. Nuff said. Other schedule oddities. Nothing is mentioned about the Cowboys having to play those 6 consecutive games against 2024 playoff teams, including both Super Bowl combatants, Eagles-Chiefs, the latter part of the season, but try these on for size. Commanders play the Eagles twice in the final 3 weeks of the season, start times TBD, with the Cowboys in between on Christmas Day. The Bengals play 3 consecutive home games heading into their bye, and the Titans, with rookie quarterback Cam Ward, play 3 consecutive home games coming off a bye. And how about them Chiefs becoming the first NFL team to play 5 primetime games in the first 8 weeks of the season? Eye-catching too. Saw this a week or so ago, pointing out rookie Tyler Shaw could become the New Orleans Saints' season-opening starting quarterback now that veteran Derek Carr has decided to retire, the second-round draft choice having a chance to earn the starting role. And if he does, Shaw would become the Saints' first rookie quarterback to start Week 1 since, wait for it, Archie Manning in 1971. Seriously. So made me think about Cowboys' rookie quarterback starts. As for Week 1 rookie quarterback starters, the Cowboys can boast three: Troy Aikman in 1989, Quincy Carter in 2001, and Dak Prescott in 2016. As for Cowboys starts by a rookie quarterback, Dak of course leads with 16. Next is Aikman with 11. Next Chad Hutchinson with 9 in 2002, Carter with 8 in 2001, and Steve Walsh with a 5 in 1989 when Troy missed time with a broken left index finger thought initially to be dislocated when Aikman summoned offensive lineman Kevin Gogan to yank it back in place in the huddle. And as for wins by a rookie quarterback, again Dak with 13, falling off to Carter with 3 and Hutchinson with 2. And while the Cowboys total 11 rookie quarterbacks with at least one start, the only others to actually win at least one game would be Roger Staubach, 1969, Walsh, 1989, Hutchinson, 2002, and Jason Garrett, 1993. Indeed, the Cowboys have lived a charmed existence when it comes to quarterback play, able to go from Don Meredith to Staubach to Danny White to Aikman after a failed attempt from Steve Pelluer to eventually Tony Romo to Prescott. Off the cuff, in the 2024 advent of the dynamic kickoffs, Cowboys kicker Brandon Aubrey finished with the fourth lowest touchback percentage, 46.6%, seventh in most kickoffs, 88, and fourth in distance when less is more, opposing teams' average start being at the 1-yard line, just one of 5 kickers whose average was less than the goal line, 65 yards, at 64.0. Also, Aubrey's 150-point season tied for second most in the NFL, but he has a high of 307 in the past 2 seasons. Prescott's 76 wins in his 9 seasons rank 4th in the NFL from 2016 to 24, behind just Patrick Mahomes, 89, Jared Goff, 81, and Tom Brady, 79. And in Cowboys history, Dak's 76 wins rank 4th after 9 seasons, just 2 behind Romo, 76 in 14 seasons, 9 behind Staubach, 85 in 11 seasons, and 18 behind all-time leader Troy, 94 in 12 seasons, meaning a 10-win season in 2025 vaults Dak to number 2. Since we usually go to the quarterback first, might as well go to Dak last, too, for this week's final words. The team is taking a break here for a couple of weeks, but once again Dak is planning a get-together trip with his skill players on offense. For some football for sure, but also a lot of brotherhood, allowing guys to get to know one another better before the start of training camp. Certainly helps with so many newcomers like almost the entire running back room, wide receivers like George Pickens and somewhat Jonathan Mingo and Paris Campbell, and likely tight end Brevin Spanford, who has made an impression this offseason. Plus, the 2 current backup quarterbacks with the addition of Joe Milton and Will Grier returning. Yeah, I mean it's just after we break here for a couple of weeks, and then before we get back together for a couple of weeks. Just when I can check in on guys, right? Dak says of the trip he sponsors. Just get them all there and make sure that they're in shape doing the things that they need to do. They're seeing the ball. That's one big part of it. I mean, you can catch a lot of jugs, you can catch passes, but you want to be catching them from you, catching them from the quarterbacks. And then lastly, there's that camaraderie, getting those guys together like you said. Getting George here just in the last couple of months, knowing him, right? We're growing, but just getting to know him better, deeper, getting to know all the guys, especially with a new receivers coach. These guys are coming in trying to change little things and little nuances that just gives them another time to work together. So, super excited about the trip. Sure sounds right. The Dallas Cowboys made a major move this offseason, trading a selection of draft picks to the Pittsburgh Steelers in exchange for wide receiver George Pickens. The move not only filled a major hole for the Cowboys in terms of giving them a downfield threat, but it also gave Dak Prescott another much-needed weapon on the outside and supplied the team with a player that they hope can take pressure off of CeeDee Lamb in the passing game. In fact, according to Pro Football Focus Dalton Wasserman, there might not have realistically been a better player Dallas could have brought in to complement Lamb than Pickens. This offense has always operated best when they have a vertical threat that opens up the space to allow CeeDee Lamb to work underneath, Wasserman said on PFF's NFL show. I still think to this day, I think the Cowboys are the winners right now of the George Pickens trade. He was one of 5 receivers in the NFL with a perfect 99.9 deep receiving grade. The threat that Pickens gives you one-on-one deep down the field is going to open things up for Lamb underneath. And I don't think you could pick 2 receivers that complement each other better than those 2. And based on what Pickens was able to do during his time in Pittsburgh, Wasserman might be right. Since the 2022 season, Pickens has ranked third in the NFL in receiving yards on vertical passing routes behind only Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson with 1,630 yards. He is also the only player in the NFL to average 16 yards per catch in combination with at least 2,000 yards receiving over that time. And adding that next to a receiver like Lamb, who is a 3-time NFL All-Pro and 4-time Pro Bowler and has 38 touchdowns and over 6,000 yards to his name already, certainly creates a combo deserving of worry, regardless of the opponent. The Dallas Cowboys are headed for roster cuts at several key positions, which has one analyst wondering if the team could explore potential trades. Dallas would likely prefer to net something in return rather than releasing players and receiving nothing. USA Today's Katie Drummond outlined 5 Cowboys players who are in danger of being traded given their long odds to make the final roster. One of the more intriguing names is newly signed wide receiver Paris Campbell. Drummond is not convinced that the veteran is going to be able to make the 53-man roster. Campbell hasn't lived up to expectations, and his chances for making the Cowboys' 53-man roster were evaporated when the team traded for George Pickens, Drummond wrote in a June 23, 2025, story titled, 5 Fringe Cowboys Who Could Be Traded During Training Camp Before Roster Cuts. There may be a team that wanted to bring him in as a FA when he agreed with Dallas that is willing to send a conditional pick for the rights to him joining their fray. Paris Campbell was part of the Eagles' Super Bowl team in 2024. The addition of Campbell does feel a bit like insurance in case Dallas was unable to land a bigger fish to pair with CeeDee Lamb. Trading for George Pickens puts added pressure on the other Cowboys receivers heading into training camp. Campbell signed a 1-year, $1.3 million contract with the Cowboys during NFL free agency. Only $167,500 of this deal is guaranteed, per Spotrac, allowing Dallas to cut ties with the wideout without any financial ramifications. The receiver does have the advantage of being familiar with the NFC East. Campbell spent last season with the Philadelphia Eagles, posting 6 receptions for 30 yards and 1 touchdown in 5 appearances. Despite not being an integral part of Philly's offense, Campbell still is a Super Bowl champion. Campbell also played 12 games for the New York Giants in 2023. It is hard to imagine the Cowboys receiving much in return in a Paris Campbell trade. The challenge is Campbell's trade market is likely minimal as a player who is on and off the Eagles' active roster in 2024. Dallas would likely hope to land a future late-round draft pick, but it will be challenging to find a suitor. Campbell offers elite speed with a blazing 4.31-second 40-yard dash time at the 2019 NFL Combine. It is a major reason why Campbell was selected in the 2nd round by the Indianapolis Colts. As for Pickens, it appears the Cowboys' newest star receiver is already forming a bond with Lamb. Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer spoke glowingly about Pickens and also opened up about his growing relationship with Lamb. I think his excitement for knowing that we've added some pieces, which will add to the competition, it was cool to see a guy like CD be excited, Schottenheimer noted on May 29th, per The Athletic's John Machota. Those two guys' relationship is awesome. They're spending a lot of time together. I think it's great for CD to have someone like George. Not that George is a young player, but someone that GP really looks up to in CD. They obviously have trained some together. That relationship is really cool. I'm enjoying just kind of sitting back and watching it develop.